And good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Campaign Notes here on Twitch. I am Trav. Now, my normal disclaimer, the products and publishers that I will be mentioning this evening in my now weekly chat about role-playing games, I'm not getting reimbursed or sanctioned by them at all. I mention their products because I use their products and they work for my needs. No affiliation with TriTac Games. This is something on my own, even though TriTac Games figures heavily into my role-playing as well. Now, that having been said, good evening all. Now, tonight I am going to be talking about the current campaigns I'm running. Now, I run 4. I have bi-weekly Thursday and Saturday games, and then on alternating weeks, Friday and Sunday. So I am gaming every weekend. It's just alternating days. This would be this week, a Thursday, Saturday week. And by the way, happy Juneteenth, everybody. It is a federal holiday here in America. If you are not sure what Juneteenth is, President Biden made a federal holiday last year. Now, what June 19th was, it was the final day that the proclamation, the 13th Amendment, I believe, it didn't get down to Texas until sometime later. So U.S. Army forces came in and said, oh, you all are still having slaves? No, they're all free. No, I said they're free. So yeah, it was the final day where everybody was like, no, all these slaves, that's done. No. I've heard it called Freedom Day, but yeah, Juneteenth. So it is a cause for celebration. My only thing is I only found out about it last year and I'm 54 years old. For that, I blame my school system. Anyways. So yeah, a lot of the banks and a lot of the mail was down. Banks were down today. Everything should be resuming tomorrow. Anyways. My 4 current campaigns I am running. As I said, we will go throughout the next 2 hours, a half hour per campaign. So that gives me more than enough time to explain everything. Who's in it, what's going on, what settings I may use for them. So yeah, here we go. Now my Thursday night game, which my next episode, my next session I'll be running in 2 days from now. It is called Traveler's Earth, The Cabal. Now, Traveler's Earth. Okay, back in the early 90s I was going to be a comic book writer. Unfortunately, somebody who will not be mentioned, or someone who will not be named, first wife, put the kibosh on it behind the scenes. I didn't find out about years later. I thought it was just the guy who was going to publish this stuff at the 92 Motor City Comic Con. Screwed me. No, I found out it was her. But the Travelers, cyberpunk 4-color superheroes. It was very dystopian cyberpunk Detroit. But these were your typical 4-color superheroes. And it was Power, Flash Fist, Domino 1A, Kane Jr., Druid, Talon, Greyhawk. That Earth, I mean, I still have all the stuff in my room to this day. All the big, thick stack of notes and manila envelopes full of drawings by my buddy Dean Stahl and everything. And for decades, I was using Trav as email names. The name of the channel here, Trav31369. And so years later, I get involved in Dementia Radio, and I keep getting into the old MIRC chat room. And my friend and former co-host, charter member of the Travcast, Bad Kid, he's like, okay, you need a name. You can't keep coming in under like D Radio guest 3-digit number. Fine, Trav. The rest is history. So that came from the Traveler's Earth attempt at being a comic book writer. Now, I did try running a Travelers-based game 3-4 years ago. I was running 2 separate games on Thursday night. So basically, we'd be touching on each world once a month. It was getting too much for me, so I made up a game device where this being that manipulates time said, you guys were not supposed to be here. There's no hero team on this earth for another 5 years. Go through that portal to another dimension or we will just wipe you from existence. So I merged the one with the other, and the 2 teams just sort of merged into the campaign I now refer to as Prometheus. which for that I used the Haven City of Violence campaign by Louis J. Porter. I believe that is LPJ Design is who made that. So I've come back to it. In game time, it is 6 years later. And this game group consists of roommate's old girlfriend, Carrie, our friend Will, Miranda and Rich, who live north of me, Courtney, who today's her birthday, happy birthday, Courtney, and Breakman Z, who is here on Twitch. Go to his channel, check his stuff out. So the 6 of them are new heroes that have been gathered together by Will's... Okay, Will's character is an old Forgotten Realms character named Zen Falconen, a.k.a. Char, the Ember Mage. He was in the previous campaign. Well, he wanted to bring Zen back, and this is the thing. The players were pissed off when we did this, and Will and I had to hold this back for months. It's a concept Will came up with called soul fracturing. Imagine a forcefully produced magical clone at a fraction of the power. And he'll say we had to bring the power level back down. Again, I used Pathfinder 1E OGL. So, instead of, he made it to 20th level, he was down to like maybe, God, let's see, I started them, I think, 5th, 6th, 7th level, somewhere around there. I don't like doing first level startups. I like to have my characters in my campaigns. You have a little experience, a little background. You've hit some bumps in the road in your life, and now the weird stuff has begun. So Zen is back. He doesn't know why. He's back on this earth that he was banned from 6 years ago. And the aforementioned Power, who pretty much it was my Mary Sue in the 90s. He comes back and says, okay, apparently you were brought back here. I sensed you, sensed the fracture in the dimensions. Yeah, there's a being here that shouldn't be here, yet, because, Power being a damn near omniscient, omnipotent, Q-like entity without the chaotic nature. In the Traveler's world, there's the Zinatra and Dorgul, diametrically opposed. Each one has been manipulating history, and all the famous people with gifts and everything, even, charisma or tactical genius, have all their genetics tweaked them throughout the millennia. Dorgul is trying to drive humanity through its own greed and carelessness out of extinction. The Zinatra is trying to lift them up. So it's been a constant battle, and the Zinatra realizes if it's a dystopian cyberpunk future, yeah, humanity would be losing in that. They would be, short-sightedness. And I was young and idealistic back in the early 90s, so it was my kind of... What was it? I was young, stupid, and jaded. I'm now older. Or young, stupid, and idealistic. I'm now older and jaded. Stop laughing, all of you. I swear, don't. It's like Jordan the Stallion. Come so close. Just come so close. So the Zinatra merged with a young man who was living this corporate life, and his parents had been in the corporate, and he was given a chance. He saw something he shouldn't, got thrown in the Detroit River. This entity came to him and said, I can help you out, but I'll be residing with you forever. Okay, he becomes Power and just gets the team together, and so Power's there with Zen, and it's like, okay, this is something going on here. You're going to need to check this out. Well, why can't you check it out? I'm already fighting the one menace, Dorgul, over here. That's Dorian Golviano, head of Gullcorp. Pretty much now owns most of the Midwest Great Lakes. Due to government stuff in my setting, the U.S. actually had to sell off states, and they became corporocracies. It's like the East Coast, the Gulf Coast, the Midwest, and the West Coast, including Alaska. They all became corporocracies. So the U.S. was down to like half of what it was, and it was landlocked. So Power sends Zen, who decides to adopt identity of Georgian occult investigator Alexei Gelashvili. So Will is sitting there doing this accent for months, and very mysterious. They don't know who he is. It's just he's the guy that got all these heroes together. Now, I will break down. As I said, I've got a half hour I can do this. It's 8:09. I got 20 minutes I can sit there and go on with this. Carrie is playing this, well, basically, AI-enhanced cyborg. The ancient AI came to Earth, and it took up, it's known as Athena. Eleni Karakeris, I think the character's name is. Greek genius, young woman, owns Ouroboros Corporation, hard tech. Rock climbing falls damn near dies. Just everybody. I mean, we're talking the Steve Austin, Jamie Summers kind of breakup where they get, $6 million man, bionic woman. Ask your parents. And so Eleni is rebuilt, and she's now more machine than woman. And she's publicly known, and there's other AIs that have covered gods, and they're known as the new avatars. Now, I have willfully added this into the Travelers because I knew the Travelers comic book would never go anywhere, so I make it a role-playing world. So now the new avatars are the other big team on this planet other than the Travelers. Traveler, top team. We're talking the cosmic level heroes with some street level. The new avatars is like number 2. Well, Cabal's becoming number 3. So Aegis is not technically a member of the Cabal. That's everybody else on the team. It's just she's the one helping them out because the thing is like they need help. I know what's going on here. I know the entity that this Alexei Gelashvili is having to fight. I figured it out. These youngins are going to need an experienced hand. So that's Carrie. And of course, Carrie knows OGO better. So there are a lot of times I'm having to throw really heavy-duty stuff at this team because Carrie will smoke it. And Carrie has been nice. She has now a 2-round warm-up where it's like, okay, all of you get to fight. I've got passive defenses to help you out. That 3rd round comes. Anything that you guys haven't taken out, I'm wiping out. And we're using Akashic Mysteries from Dreamscarred Press and the Arcforge technology expanded from Legendary Games Tweak, where no, Akasha is cybertech. So all of these Akashic rituals like Eyes of the Hawk Guard and Stalker's Tabby, those are all apps, nanotech, cybernetics. And it's wonderful because I've already got magic, I've got psi, the Akasha is cybertech. It's a really cool alteration on rules. So Carrie is the teen powerhouse. Will is playing Zen Falconen, a.k.a. Alexei Gelashvili. He's the one getting all these. He's stopped, and the first Avenger is picking them all up and going around the world. And very high-level mage, and of course Will is an expert tactician, man. He's played Zen before. In my last Star Trek campaign, he played a Vulcan security officer who later became an admiral of like a Section 31. My Star Trek games are in the Kelvin universe. So yeah, Will just tactically sound and just knows the powers, and we're saying, okay, you're going to use a power like this, okay, yeah. And from the Forgotten Realms, so that means I have to have the Forgotten Realms wiki up to, okay, this background here, and the enemy that they are fighting, Sebastian, was at one time a demigod like Zen was for a little bit. He just got to the Traveler's Earth 10 years before this soul-fractured Zen did. So 4 years before the original Zen was here. Time travel, okay, go back, you've changed it past this new Sigil Corp. And I found third-party Planescape stuff to just, oh, okay, yeah, you're hearing all these terms, and Will's like, oh, crap. And he's typing to me privately, you're using Planescape stuff, I recognize these terms. I'm like, yes, you're welcome. But Will and I had to keep the secret that Alexei was actually Zen. And of course, Will's playing it very mysterious. He has this looks like magical, possibly some type of, spell-casting being that is here. And and his girlfriend Amanda by this time is sick of him doing this accent around her. So it was very cleansing. Well, it was cleansing and cathartic for him and I. Everybody else in the party who played Z and Carrie dealt with Zen before, and they're like, you son of a bitch. So that is Carrie and Will. Now, Miss Courtney, the birthday girl, she is playing a Japanese earth and element controller known as Suki Chifuka. Young Japanese woman, lightning powers came out accidentally, I believe during a protest. And she's got there's scars when you get electrocuted. You get Leisenberg scars, I forget the name of it, but she has those and they're hidden. She's also claustrophobic. So she's picking out things from Storm, and Courtney is an admitted hardcore X-Men fan, so fine. And it's funny because the previous Travelers campaign, Goth Bunny from my show and Breakman's fiance played another character like that, called herself Elemental. Coke and Crown Royal Apple. Anyways. And I also am going to check something really quick here and see if I can bring up chat to see how all y'all are talking here. Looking to see. And I'm still... chat. Here we go. And that'll bring up. And it's coming up. I want to see... Nobody. You sons of... There, I'll start it off. I'll put it in there. Hi. Okay. Anyways, so... Suki. Environmentalist, so it depends on who she knows. She's either seen as this crusading environmentalist or an eco-terrorist with powers. And I have told Courtney, I said, no, in this setting, it's going to depend on who you meet. You could either be loved and adored, or you could be considered a criminal. And she doesn't care. She's very reserved and doesn't... So she's part of this team now and doesn't like it because I have to deal with people. Ooh, people. Ugh, you know. Z... Again, Breakman Z, go to his channel and check his stuff out. It's all one word, Breakmanz. It's a Mega Man reference. Playing Grace Kenson, a.k.a. Heatsink. Now, apparently the design for this character was made from the old DC Universe Online game. Pyrokinetic, all due to alien tech. Now, this alien tech comes from another AI called Dragon. Now, imagine Zordon from the Power Rangers in the previous campaign, Jeff DeRef, also here on Twitch, and Professor Pixie, she's here too. They played, and Jeff did sort of the Green Sphinx. It was his Power Ranger-esque character. Sentai Spectacular from Scorched Earth Studios, Chris A. Field stuff. Yeah, so he had a Sentai character. And so Dragon was the Zordon of that. Dragon is back. When the time beings, and I use Temporality's Time Walkers, Temporality from Dark Horse Studios, I believe. Magical time travel stuff, and these things called the Time Walkers, and one of them has become an NPC named Blue Boy, which my players hate because I've used him to just... He's not evil, it's just, with time... People cannot see why you're doing what you're doing. You know the future, and it may screw you over, but it's to preserve the timeline. Well, Blue Boy and the other Time Walker said, you all are going to go through that portal and get out of here, and we got to clean up your mess. In other words, eradicate memory from you from everybody on this planet. They did that. Problem is, Dragon just went to low power mode, so he still remembered everybody. Well, to get a player back in the game, because all of his mythical rangers went through the portal... Or the one did. The other 4 died. Jeff was a survivor, and so he gained mythical rangers in this other world, the Haven setting. Which I also mixed with Nova City from Comic Book Heroes. I believe that's Steel Forge Publishing. So, Grace Kenson gets this belt that gives her pyrokinetic and flight powers and everything. She's a data analyst for the aforementioned Gold Corp. And we've already had it. Yeah, you've been bouncing around the world. You have to save your job now. Oh, okay, you're doing that. Z couldn't come to the game for a couple of sessions. He works at a Subway, had to close. So I said, okay, no, you and I are going to sit down and talk. Dragon gets in your head, and you have another AI in your head. Dragon, even take over the body for a little bit. And we've played with that. It's like, you don't go taking over human beings' bodies. And of course, Carrie's character, Aegis, the Athena AI, is going, oh, it's only a 90-year-old AI. That's adorable. Like patting on the head type thing. Oh, that's adorable. You're cute. When you get to be millions of years old, come talk to me. Until then, I can see why you're a rude upstart. And Dragon's like, right here, lady. Yeah. So, the AI is now in Grace Kenson's head like Athena is in Elena Karakiris' head. And so, Z is a bit of a techie, but also just these fire manipulation powers and just nuclear fire at opponents and flight and... So that's Heatsink. So we've done Carrie, Will, Courtney, Z. Miranda and Rich. Lovely couple from Kegel Harbor. Miranda, a.k.a. Nymph, played 2 characters. The first one was a young magnetokinetic Kira McKinley. Now, her character and Rich's character, who is just this big, hulking Neo-Man who just knows himself as DB, both of them were taken by Sigil Corp and worked on to gain powers. They were going to be used as basically metahuman brute squad. DB was a bar bouncer who ended up being homeless, and Kira would give whatever money to DB, and that gave them agency. Their characters were linked. Well, Kira got, she comes back from another drunken binge night, comes back, there's an eviction notice on her apartment. She takes what money she has and just burns down the apartment. Gets on a bus, a guy in a suit, neck with the sedative, takes her. DB was taken later. 6 months later, where they don't remember anything, they wake up in the Bronx. They're living off the streets, Sigil Corp cyborgs who have a few magic items on them. Which right there, the team is having to deal with magic now, and they only got one spell slinger, Zen. So Kira and DB got on. DB, has the intelligence of the child, and Rich plays it beautifully. Yeah. Who took the remote? You got cookies? And whenever he's beating up bad guys, hug the baby, grapple. And he's like 7'6" and 600 pounds. If you remember the Camelot 3000 comic from DC Comics, Galahad, the gray skin, no hair, big brute, that's DB. Kira was Nymph wanted to switch out the characters. She Kira I'm not having fun with. I got this other character. She came over Halloween. She came up with Nox. And the final thing is a 12-year-old girl who got... She was in an old Russian corporate factory town, playing around, fell through a grating in the factory, radiation chemicals died, comes out, now has radiation powers. Problem is she's polluting everybody around her. They have since come up with a containment suit for her, and she just goes by Nox. Ukrainian girl, but because Miranda, bless her heart, cannot do accents at all, we just said you learned English, American English from TV. Just, that's good. It works. Even though you were born and bred in Horlivka, Ukraine, and it's down there. If you look, Horlivka, Horlivka. It's in the contested area that they're dealing with in the Ukraine and everything. And so we said, yeah, the previous year, the town was polluted. It shut down, and everyone just wrote you off as dead. Since we don't know who you are, you call yourself Nox, fine. And she's also like graduate level polymath. She's got like a 220 IQ. And then Rich playing DB, the big hulking brute. And Aegis has transmutation power. So here's a plate of cookies and, a gallon of milk. And what the two NPCs I play are basically versions of me and my daughter, Shelley. Daniel Stewart, who developed basically brain taping. Recording a person's entire personality, memories, and experience, and putting it online. So let's say you're going through cybernetic conversion, or you have been horribly disfigured in an accident. Well, they're working on your body. Your mind's not in a coma. It's kind of like the Tahiti thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a magical place. So Daniel invented that. Well, he's in his lab at home. The wife, Mackenzie, mother of Sheila, Daniel's, and the two parents, this is an allegory or a similarity to me in the aforementioned first wife. Sheila would be the Mary Sue of my daughter, Shelley. And so here's Daniel, and he uploads himself just in time because he knows people from another corp are hunting him. They gun him down. Everyone thinks he's dead. No, he's now in the light labyrinth, is what I call the internet in this world. And his friend, a Japanese scientist named Okanada, takes in Sheila, and he and Daniel... Sheila becomes like a corporate security operative, lightly cyberized and combat trained, and the essence of her father is now an AI-type transferred intelligence in a left cybernetic bracer with a computer in it. So there are times where Daniel's had to take over Sheila's body, let's say, okay, you've been knocked unconscious, I'm taking over to get you out of there. And of course he hacks stuff, and she's, martial arts and everything. Daniel just recently got an upgraded body. Hi, dear. And so Daniel and Sheila are now part of this team. Daniel, for a while, was living in the high-tech starship that Dragon had made for the previous team, the Heralds. The team that was there too early in the timeline. So, these heroes, so it's Suki, Aegis, Zen, DB, Nox, Heatsink, the Stewarts, Carrie, Will, Courtney, Z, Nymph, Rich, my two. Yeah, they are the Cabal. And so they are fighting against Sigil Corp, and they're dealing with, Sigil Corp, of course, is putting out, oh, these horrible villains, they're trying to. And the rest of the world's like, we like these guys, they're cool. They're a little more accessible than the Travelers and the new Avatars. And currently, right now, Daniel and Sheila are on a press tour for the Brain Taping because they started their own corporation, Stewart Tech. The old base that the previous team had, Carrie's corporation and Daniel's corporation, oh, it's a joint corporate venture and it's a low-tech employee retreat. And then the secret base is below. So you have Daniel and Sheila are doing the press tour. Yeah, we've got this brain taping and it'll help patients and it'll be, yes, dear, it's the Thursday game. Half hour per each game. So in about 5 minutes, I'll be starting up with the Friday game, and you get to kick back and go, yes, I'm in that one. So Daniel and Sheila get attacked by Kara, who's now been totally turned to the dark side by Sigil Corp. She is now known as Goss because of the magnetic powers. One of the things that Miranda liked doing was, I have made these metal shards, and it's kind of like the Blade Barrier spell. Oh, the way I do superpowers in this game, I mix, and again, I should have the books, the Aberrant D20 by White Wolf, and Powered Hero Evolution by Scorched Earth Studios. I use almost all of Scorched Earth Studios stuff except Black Tokyo. I don't do hentai. I'm not into that. If you know who Chris A. Field is, you know you separate art from artist. I said what I said. So, yeah, the whole thing about this Thursday game is that Daniel and Sheila got attacked by Kara, ethereally, magic weapons with ghost touch. Everyone's, oh, it's the perfect close. How did, Daniel and Sheila, yeah, they survived, but how'd they get hit from across the street? It's you had somebody who's ethereal throwing ghost touch weapons at them, trying to kill them from across the street. Didn't work. Now Zen and Suki, because Sheila kind of had herself surgically altered, looked more Japanese to, the epicanthic folds and everything around the eyes, to be more with Okanata. Because, yeah, mom's away doing her stuff, mad at dad, and dad is, stuck in my arm as an AI program. Okanata's my father. And I've been role-playing where Sheila's warming up to the dad, and I'll call him dad again instead of father or Daniel. And people who know my kid, it's like, oh no, you have Shelly. Of course, I know my kid. Yesterday was Father's Day. We texted. Shelly, I hope you're feeling better. The recent wildfire smoke from Canada has affected her. She's not feeling well. Coughing, sore throat. So there was no visit. It was just a text. But this character, Sheila Stewart, is based on Shelly. And they're so often now banter back and forth. And Carrie and Zay like, oh no, that's how they are. Yes, we've heard them. We've met them. We know them. Just so, yeah. So the next session, which would be this Thursday, is now Zen and Suki are going to assume, and Daniel's already assumed, or Zen's already assumed Daniel's form, as in, yes, I'm back from my thing. Here, yes, have my top shelf booze. And I'm role playing Daniel. I'm like, you son of a. I'm having this $200 whiskey, and you're giving it out to the mail room people. Ow. Again, it's Jordan. Come so close, please. Just come so close. So yeah, that's the Thursday night game. I have a lot of fun with it because when you write something, it's like a child. So now I'm getting to do this Traveler's Earth that I've had in my head for 30 years. And I'm getting to do it properly. And I'm digging through my old notes. And I'm corresponding. Oh, this is the game time. Okay, this would have been issue whatever. I was planning 50-issue comics. I was young and idealistic back then. And of course, I'm showing the old art and everything. They're like, oh my God, you're digging these notes from 30 years ago. And it's like I said last week to Pixie when she had the autistic meltdown and threw away all her Pokemon notes. Keep your notes. I'm using stuff from 30 years ago. And I'm having so much fun doing my Travelers. Well, because now all these players are adding new stuff. Like Carrie added the new avatars and, just the whole Dragon thing. Z's, with Heatsink and Nymph and Rich with their characters and Courtney with her Japanese environmental / eco-terrorist. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun playing in that world. And it's keeping going, and the characters are like 14th level. And we're going to be going to epic levels with this because Sebastian is a demigod. So yeah, they're going up against a demigod who is messed around in Sigil. If you know the old D&D Planescape, Sigil. That's Sigil, or Sigil, depending on how you pronounce it. Okay, that's enough of the Thursday game. Now the Friday game, I use one of the products from my mentor, the late great Richard Tucholka, a hardwired hinterland from TriTac Games. It is a manufactured realm where it's a series of 200-mile perfectly square environs where swaths from various places throughout the multiverse are just deposited right there. So there's one called New Akron. It has an Akron airfield from 1930s, various towns from the 1930s, and people that come there. The thing that Rich put in is you make a left turn somehow. You could be just walking and make a left turn, all of a sudden you're in the hinterland. Usually on the shore of one of these environs, and usually being attacked by carnivorous squids. So you're having to scramble up on shore, and you get ingradiated into whatever environment you appear on. Now, usually you get to the environment that most suits you. There are a few that end up in places that are not suited to them at all. And the society, the Loose Economic Union, the, Certified Alliance of Key Environs, or CAKE. Yes, Rich had that type of sense of humor. He's been gone 6 years now, and I miss him every day. CAKE, they have refugee programs, and intelligent animals are a thing, so they have animals' rights, animal with a capital A. So, in this game, it is me running, Carrie, my girlfriend Fur, who's in the chat now, our dear friend Gina Jones, who is a petrochemical engineer. Courtney is in this game now. And one of Carrie's friends from the Maryland Ren Fest, their name is Beth. 25 years old, so there's a lot of things. And we adore Beth, very good role player. And but it's just young. And it's not nothing against Beth being young, it's just there's a lot that, I haven't seen that movie. And we're just, we got a lot of work to do. Oh, good. So now in this game, a lot of intellectual properties are being used for the characters. Me, I'm playing John Thomas Messier, a Robotech biomaintenance engineer from the Shadow Chronicles era. He did some, and this is a character I had from the Robotech campaign that my buddy Jerry ran 25 years ago. So this character, we need you to get this biotechnician, Dr. Alexander Mordigian. He's doing experiments using Sentinels races and humans and illegal genetic stuff. Go in and hack and get his stuff. This is sort of a black thing. There's no paperwork or orders. So they got Mordigian, but then the tribunal, it was kind of like an A-team thing. JT got screwed. He lost his commission. Sergeant, he's in the brig. Well, both him and Alex escape. They both end up in the hinterlands. But there's an up and down hinterland. JT ended up down here. Alex ended up here 50 years before. So Dr. Mordigian got to work out his issues about Sergeant Messier getting him thrown in the brig. So JT, he was escaping on a cyclone off a moon base, Alice, and ended up there. Carrie is playing a homebrew race from her self-made world, Shartair. And it's a race of humanoid shapeshifters, Irien, and I probably mangled the name yet again, abused by Kaitans, chain devils, and now she's the monster that hunts the monsters. Excuse me, they. Carrie plays a non-binary, asexual, they/them pronouns, but usually a very tall, statuesque woman in very skimpy clothing and a lot of piercings you can see through the sheer material, and gives zero fucks about how she looks. The more she off-puts people with this character, the better. And Carrie has all the Akashic stuff and shadow stuff, and so she also, and it was a thing from Crypto Snark Games, the Book of Disadvantages and Drawbacks. And this character is 4 years old, so Carrie and I did a lot of dice rolling on it and said, okay, you have all this wealth. And Carrie's character just literally has gems of wealth and just handed them out to people. got us on the team, so we kind of work for her now. So JT took the money and was like, now, one of the things I mentioned, the Restorkis and the Maintenance for Hardwire Hinterlands, they'll drop like a Tim Hortons restaurant in the middle of a forest. What I did to facilitate things, no, this is a 2030s REF base from the Sentinels in the middle. It was forest, it's now rolling hills. So JT has a base, and he's since built more mecha. The up environ above New Akron, we call it, it's Robotech Africa from the 2030s on the Zambia-Zimbabwe border. That's where Mordigine is. Oh, so once they've gotten up to the up hinterland, they have harvested protoculture. Yeah, I'm a huge Robotech fan, so I've converted the 2 editions of Palladium Books Robotech games to OGL. It wasn't easy. So I'm playing a Robotech biomaintenance engineer. Carrie has her shape-shifting monster hunter. Fur, who has this predilection for playing characters based on movies, whatnot, is playing 100 Eyes from Marco Polo on Netflix. Now, Fur is Taoist in her beliefs, so this fits. And of course, 100 Eyes, if you have not seen Marco Polo, I highly recommend it, and also the prequel, Marco Polo 100 Eyes, where it focuses on how Li Jinbao, the Taoist monk, becomes known as 100 Eyes, and he's captured by Genghis Khan's grandson, Kublai Khan, played by Benedict Wong from the MCU. And so, Fur's playing it just enough where we've had to justify, yeah, you need to buy ranks in knowledge pop culture because you're picking up on JT's 21st century references. But martial arts straight up, monk, and just JT is made like, yeah, using global technology. It's a jian, it's a long sword. It's quarterstaff that shrinks down to, just a normal fighting stick. Oh, now it's a Kusari Gama. Because in 100 Eyes, Tom Wu, who played 100 Eyes, 100 Eyes was known to have taken out 25 of Kublai Khan's best men, defending the temple he was in. So, 100 Eyes is a martial arts badass, but he's a Taoist monk, so he's not being a badass about it. It's like, I defend myself, I know that death is the next big adventure. And so now he's recently gotten his eyes back, because when you're in the hinterlands, disabilities and whatnot disappear after a while. Now, 100 Eyes, what it was, if you haven't seen Marco Polo, again, I recommend it highly. Oh yeah, first, he kicked ass. Yes, he did. And Tom Wu is like a wushu champion. He's known throughout Britain and Asia as just like constantly winning medals and stuff. Michelle Yeoh also has a bit part as 100 Eyes' old girlfriend. I believe her name was Lotus. Yeah. And there's a fight scene between those two, and it's gorgeous. They're fighting in like this darkened forest, and just the hands like brushing by. And he knows it's her because he can smell, perfume or whatever she used. So yeah, 100 Eyes. In the hinterlands, let's say you appear blind. Within 6 months, your vision grows back. So I did it where, yeah, your eyes are itching. You're just, they're hurt and everything. It's because his eyes was growing back. Kublai Khan, 100 Eyes accidentally killed somebody that Kublai Khan knew. He said, okay, you're here now. I'm going to make sure you don't escape. Puts him in the stocks, has a cobra right here, spits in the eyes. The venom destroys his sight. It's more of a dance. Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's Michelle Yeoh. If you know, you know. This woman's been doing martial arts and whatnot for almost 50 years. So yeah, 100 Eyes now has a sight back and still is fighting and leaping, and now the character is, because it's the hinterland, weird abilities might come up. It's all wuxia, wire fu type stuff. Yeah, you can run like 80 feet per round and do a free 20-foot jump, and you can jump like hundreds of feet and do the stuff like Li Mu Bai and Crouching Tiger, where he's standing on the bamboo thing and then can jump to it. 100 Eyes can do all this stuff now due to the rules. And I believe 13th, 14th level with them too. Okay, so that's me, Carrie, Fur. All the rest of the characters come from other movie or book universes. Courtney is playing Sarah James, a reasonably good cook and also a Salem-era witch. Now I put her in the Northern Crown setting. Now the Pathfinder version was done by my late dear friend Jonathan M. Thompson. I believe Northern Crown was originally done by Atlas Games, along with its precursor game Nyambi, which is sort of like earlier tribal Africa, and then the descendants of those are the what would have been the slaves in that colonial America, like late 1600s. So Courtney is playing the 1692 era witch, and is there. And Courtney threw in a twist. Yes, it's the dimensional analog of my previous half-elf character that ended up in the Star Trek Kelvin universe, Ayame. Right? Ayame. So we've made it now where Ayame using dimensional magic is getting in her head and realize, oh no, we're the same person, just different timelines. Now I'm also playing my Tremelern engineer NPC, Schwad, which it's like the Doctor. He's epic level, and so he kind of drew Sarah in because, oh wait a minute, there's somebody coming. Wait, is that Ayame? What are you doing here? You're not her. Her who? Never mind, come with me. So not only am I doing the witch class from Pathfinder, which I want to say is Advanced Player Guide, yeah. I'm also, Carrie and I use the Spheres of Power, Spheres of Might, Spheres of Guile PDFs from Drop Dead Studios. And so there is a blacksmith class and there's an archetype called the Iron Chef, where you can cook up foods and they give your characters boosts temporarily. There's a barista class, and Schwad's taking levels in that. They now run a restaurant in a tree just south of this military base called the Offworld Oasis. Oh, no, I'll bring up Ace in a bit, dear. So Courtney is part-time cook, part-time herbal witch. Gina is playing an X-Men movie universe mutant known as Durhacht, an Irish psychiatrist and scientist who met William Stryker, Brian Cox's character in X2. She's met Xavier and Magneto from the original timeline before they went in and changed it in all the younger X-Men. So that previous timeline. She has shadow and empathic powers, and when her powers came in, her eyes are gone. There's nothing, just a black patch of shadow, and she wears wraparound shades. The experimentation came from Stryker, where Boris, a King German Shepherd. Now, both of them in an Irish accent. And what I do is, because I follow the Try channel, Irish YouTube content where they tried Crown Royal whiskey. So I am using affectations of other male YouTube Irish, and I've told a few of them about this, and they find it hilarious. Seamus Stackpole was like, wait a minute, you're playing a character based on me, but it's a King German Shepherd. Sentient. Telepathic. Smooth instead of smooth, and he thought that was funny. So Boris is symbiotically linked with Orla, Durhacht. And now his powers have grown where he's pretty much got the rest of a team in a lesser link, but he's symbiotically linked to Orla. If one gets sick, the other gets sick. Yeah, and he's got mental powers and he's a King German Shepherd. This is a big dog. You get bit by this dog, and also Sonic barks and growls. Like a 7d10 Sonic Blast that can go up to 640 feet away. So yeah, Boris is, and I use the term Akushla for Orla because they're that close. It's that psychic connection where it's this bond, and it's a tight bond. I'm not going to get far because I don't want to be accused of talking about any weird stuff here. But Boris and so it's Boris is there with the Irish accent. Yeah, Kushla, you might want to check this out last. There's, something going on over here. I can smell it, So that's Boris. So we have Carrie for me. I'm playing another NPC. I'll talk about the NPC in a bit. Beth. Beth is a fan of His Dark Materials, the book series by Philip Pullman. You would know about it as the film that came out about 10 years ago called The Golden Compass, where in this world, humans, their souls take an animal form called a daemon, and it's usually opposite gender. So if you're a guy, you're going to have a female. And I'm sure it's Philip Pullman doing the anima animus type thing. Well, originally, Lear Balakwa was a gnome from another world who plane jumped to the His Dark Materials world. And then from there got pulled into the hinterland without his daemon. PTSD, severe paranoia, and now death. and it's a deafness that is not going to be fixed by the hinterland's regenerative powers. It's kind of like Orla's blindness. She's blind, he's deaf, end of discussion. It's not going to change. Lear is a little sneak thief, plane jumper, and has this spiked chain that just hits for ungodly amounts of damage. Carrie made the character. If you know Carrie, you know what I'm talking about here. So Lear is playing just very... Beth's just playing this character very well. Just, okay. Oh, wait a minute. What explosives? What, JT made something called a fuel air explosive? Yes, please. Baby nukes? Yes. So JT's like, fine. You now have warrant officer status and you're in EOD training. You want to learn how to set off this stuff and defuse it? Fine. You train with them. Oh, you're deaf? Okay, your instructors, you get a throat mic and it prints on the glasses that Lear now wears. Industrial Revolution style tech and now dealing with robotechnology. And then finally, the NPC I have. Yeah, Parented Little Thief. Yeah, Fur nailed it, right? She's in the chat. My girlfriend's in the chat. And just no, Parented, but Lear's fun to play. I enjoyed Beth playing this character, and I've tried looking, because I have to have all these wikis up. I got to have the Robotech wiki, the X-Men movie wiki, the His Dark Materials wiki, the 100 Eyes, the Marco Polo Netflix wiki. So I got to have all these wikis up to check stuff out while, okay, oh, this happened at this time, and yeah. And then there's Ace. Now imagine Rocket Raccoon mixed with a little bit of Frank Rizzo from the Jerky Boys. Yeah, there, Jerky, you better get that 3/4 Pickney flange, put on that DC-3, or I'll smack you with this wrench. Just annoying, acerbic, another paranoid little thief, but he is a sentient spider monkey. Again, animals have a chance to gain sentience while they're here. Ace is over 200 years old, so he's the SME on things in the hinterland. And the way that I've made it, and this is something we discussed on Gaming on the Frontier, I've made the hinterland a digital realm. The hinterland is a Dyson sphere that the Termelern, the creators of the Fringe, Passive Fringe, where they also created the hinterland. And you find out in Portals 4, that's where all the Termelern were going to move after their massive diaspora, after the Commonwealth Meller War, their world got destroyed. It's now an asteroid belt in their dimension. So this diaspora, unlike any other, Termelern went all over the multiverse. They made the hinterland as a final home. Wow. This is the girlfriend, ladies. You got a lot of experience with being annoying. Says the person who wants to become a telemarketer. You might be getting paid for it. We're going to go there. Both of us have our own brand of annoying. Thankfully, they don't coincide. They don't clash. So the Ace is more than he is letting on. Yes, Ace runs this. He's the number one guy of a guy known as Frank Rizzo. No one's ever met him. Frank Rizzo is on this little cell phone thing, and it's this balding human businessman, and they talked, and a lot of his replies are, oh, I leave that to Ace. He's my number one guy. He's really great with, running my businesses. So Ace is the front man for Mr. Rizzo. And so Ace is like, yeah, I got this mansion over here on Anson's Kingdom, and yeah, we'll go over here, you can stay. Yeah, we got the staff here, we're good to go. Yeah, that's Wittershin's over there, the tall chick with the mohawk and all the piercings. Yeah, yeah, over here, that's Lear, the little guy here. Yeah, just wave high, Yeah, and the guy in the armor with the motorcycle, yeah, that's Colonel Messier. Fellow grease monkey. Honorary monkey, too. I like him. And, of course, I had Ace steal one of JT's gowns. I was like, you little weasel, where the hell did you get? You raid my armor, you little shit. So yeah, all of these characters are now here. And what it is, because I made the hinterland a digital realm. Okay, if you've heard of the term a Matryoshka brain, it's a supercomputer powered by the sun that is within a Dyson sphere. Okay, I'm going to try. There are some of you may not know what a Dyson sphere is. If you've seen the Next Gen episode Relics, where they brought back Scotty, that massive sphere that was all the way around in that system, that's a Dyson sphere. The sun and Freeman Dyson, the scientist that came up with this hypothetical thing back, I think in the 60s, a Dyson sphere, it's like millions and millions of square miles, enough to have like hundreds worth of Earth's populations on. And the sun is in the middle, and they use force fields to simulate night and day all around. And so the sun powers this thing. Well, with Matryoshka Brain, it's basically massive photovoltaic type stuff that powers this computer. Well, the Termeller made this computer. The trinary system we know as Alpha and Proxima Centauri went supernova, and the radiation from that, 4.5 light years away, damaged the Dyson sphere. Which means now we have all of these things being drawn in throughout the multiverse that shouldn't be. Things like Chitons and Sentinels and Invid. And trust me, it was a bitch trying to make Invid OGL. I had to convert it from the Palladium rules, eyeballing it, because there's no direct official. Kevin Sabita, don't do that. He's like, I am never converting to OGL. Anybody who tries to sell an OGL Palladium Books conversion, I will sue the crap out of them. And so, eyeballed everything. And so, all of these creatures are coming in and attempting to destroy the hinterland in one way or another, or its people. So all of the PCs were brought in, and then here comes Schwad. Now, I had him leave the Thursday night Star Trek Kelvin campaign where he made UFPETA, United Federation of Planets Interdimensional Agency. He gets this, oh crap, I gotta go here. Okay, and him leaving is going to be the pretense for the next Saturday game, where it's a continuation of the previous one. Jeff's character, who dropped out because him and Carrie don't get along, he gets his own ship and they're exploring this world. Him telling McCoy to explore that world was Schwad's last order as the head of this UFPETA. Then he came to the hinterlands and starts fixing. He pulls Sarah out, and now they almost had a knockdown drag out. They calmed down, calmer heads prevailed. Schwad and Sarah are tagging along with the group, but Schwad refers to these, and they're fully sentient people. They've come to realize, no, we're ghosts in a massive machine, as are the Chitons, the Invid, the Sentinels. And I found stats for Sentinels again. Chris A. Field has these Watchtower robots. They work as Sentinels just fine. Sentinels, the robots that hunt mutants and X-Men. Yep. As I said, there's like 3 or 4 different fandoms involved with this game. So you have the alien shape-shifting monster hunter, a Robotech engineer, a sentient spider monkey who pilots and fixes DC-3s and is now a chef, a Salem-era witch who also cooks and now they're trading recipes, a deaf, dimension-hopping gnome, and a mutant with a symbiotically linked German Shepherd. That's the Hardwired Hinterland campaign. Because 2 of the characters were blind, Carrie has this thing of nicknaming my campaign. So it's Hardwired Hinterland, Blind Man's Bluff. Because 2 of the characters, and now one of the characters is deaf, so it's like, yeah. So, and right now I made it where the Chitons, there's this magical environment called Magicos. It's like 1990s Kansas City, Missouri. And magic is run amok there. And then it got scooped here to the hinterlands. So Rich made it where, yeah, you can get magical stuff from this place, but you got to fight the dragons and the zombies and the mutants and the fae and all this. And also this magic, a lot of times it's cursed. But if you store it in structures surrounded by iron bars brought from other environs, their version of cold iron, it'll leech off the bad magic and you'll be left with your +5 Holy Avenger. Not your +5 Holy Avenger who will kill things on its own, even though it's in your hand. So Rich made that because Rich wasn't all that high on magic. He put magic in Bureau 13 and it was there and he had his own system. But here, yeah, you can use magic, but Magicos is where you usually get the stuff. I mean, you could be a wizard walking around 1930s Ohio small towns, but, yeah, yeah. And of course, JT is also an electrokinetic, where he's trying to control his powers, and now he's cyber telepathy, and he can affect the EM spectrum. And I'm going to start bringing that more into the game, and I've been building up his powers. He's got like a 10d6 microwave blast now, and yeah, JT tends to rely on his tech. And also with this game, and let's see, we are still another 6 minutes. I've brought in characters from other fandoms as NPCs. The first one I did And this is a show that was on from 93 to 97. It was a CBC CBS co-venture called Due South. You had Paul Gross, the Canadian actor, playing this straight, uptight Mountie, who comes down to Chicago because his father, a fellow Mountie, was murdered and the guy fled to Chicago. David Marciano from The Shield. David Marciano tends to play these Italian-American acerbic detectives, and it was his first major role as Ray Vecchio. Frasier, Paul Gross's character, had a half-wolf who... Frasier fell through the ice. The wolf came and rescued him. The cold, exceedingly cold water popped both of his eardrums, deaf. The wolf can read lips. It was named after former Prime Minister of Canada, John Diefenbaker. So you had a Canadian Mountie with a deaf half-wolf and a Chicago homicide detective. And then the final 2 seasons, they switched Ray out because of other commitments. The actor with Callum Keith Rennie, who's going to be in the 5th season of Discovery, playing Ray Kowalski, who was assuming Ray Vecchio's identity. So Frasier in the final 2 seasons had to teach him. So I've got Frasier, Vecchio, Diefenbaker, Leslie Nielsen as Sergeant Buck Frobisher. Now, y'all know for Leslie Nielsen, if you know him, comedic actor. No, he started out as a serious actor. He didn't start doing comedy until Airplane. So and I've got all 4 seasons of Due South on DVD. It's a funny show. I love it. Buck Frobisher had some seriously dark monologues and if you were expecting all slapstick from Nielsen in the show, no. He did some serious moments that were great. And he was in the show like maybe 6-7 times throughout the 4 seasons. So, Buck as Frasier's boss. And of course, they're all driving around in this 1971 Buick Riviera Green, converted to run on biodiesel and alcohol now. So, I also put in a certain sextet of Vermont state troopers, including their Captain O'Hagan, who tend to get into a lot of shenanigans. Yes, I did the Super Troopers, yes. Ramathorn, Farva, Rabbit, Mac. I forget the 5th one, oh my god. The Redhead, yeah. And then Captain O'Hagan played by Brian Cox. The last scenario was the 5 of them, one of the environs is almost Canada, with a New Windsor and 1950s Detroit across a river. There was an Imperial Dragon hiding around in them, and the 5 Super Troopers just couldn't handle it. So we had to come in and rescue them, and I'm playing Ramathorn and Farva. Just Mac, and how do you feel? Like when Ramathorn shot Mac with the cup, and he's there, good enough to fuck your mother! Yeah. So, yeah. So, the Patches, as they are called, are now going to do recon in the ethereal realm of the Shadow Realm of Magicost, where the Khitan stronghold is. And I'm saying, the Khitans being there, yeah, that's why Magicost is magical. So, yeah, that game is fun because it's the first time me running Hardwire Hinterlands, and I have all of Rich's stuff he ever put out. He gave it to me in CDs when I was working for him. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with the Hinterland because you can just drop, plug and play whatever environ you want in. Other than the stuff he put, there's the whole up Hinterland. And there's no sun, no stars. It's a micro layer of helium that goes under microfusion for like 14 hours a day. You can only fly through it at night to get up to the up Hinterland. So what does JT do? He's got shuttle trips all night going up and down, bringing down protoculture, sending up supplies. And just so he's got the 2 bases. And yeah, the team is about to do recon in the transitive planes to find out just what type of Khitan forces they're going to be dealing with. Now, they've already taken out the Invid for now. The brain is gone, but there's still Invid in a Genesis pit in that above New Akron. Yes, as I said, I converted the Invid and they fought them and actually gave them a run for their money. That's where the fuel air explosive and going through the shadow plane came in. They took out the brain, along with 3 Termagant Khitans. I had a lot of fun running that scenario because they were actually on their toes, even Wittershins, Carrie's character. So, I'm starting to lag again. Great. Well, I don't know what's going on because I've shut down everything I can. I've lowered my resolution down to 720. And I'm noticing that the camera is doing this a lot. So I don't know what's going on there. But, okay, that is the Friday game because we are halfway through here now. Now on to the Saturday game. And these are run on the same weeks as the Thursday game. Now, this takes some explanation here. There's going to be a bit of backstory on this game. If you are familiar with the characters Tarzan and Doc Savage back in the 60s, maybe 70s, the creator of the River World, Philip Jose Farmer, wrote 2 books called Tarzan Lives and Doc Savage His Apocalyptic Life. Now, and Fur just put woohoo because we all know what character we'll be talking about next. Black Thunder, also known as Big G. And if it was pod safe, I'd be starting up Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. But because Big G is the one you hit the button for, just putting that out there. She don't like the song no more, but no. If anybody deserves the button to be hit, it's Big G. We'll talk about the origin of the Big G character in a bit. Anyways, the Wold Newton universe, where basically all of the major literary characters from the past couple hundred years are distantly related in one way or another. Tarzan and Doc Savage are distantly linked. Tarzan, Lord Greystoke. Doc Savage, Clark Savage Jr. Yeah, there's family trees that have been printed. The Wold Newton universe is... And Breakman Z's in. Big G, a.k.a. Black Thunder, with his massive lightning rod. Hit the button. God love you, Z. And Fur's there laughing her ass off, too. So the Wold Newton universe. Originally, this was a game I ran. It was called the Sentinels of Justice. It was just a pulp campaign, and it's a bunch of pulp vigilantes find a fringe portal and chase after a Melor to a alternate 1590s Venice, where the greatest minds, including the creator of haiku, the guy who designed St. Mary's Cathedral, Christopher Wren, were all meeting with Leopold the Pope. And the Melor trashes the wagon train, I guess, going through Venice, and okay, you got to find this thing. And so what I did was, oh yeah, that Melor's destroyed. Well, there was another Melor on this world, and he used time travel and killed those heroes. Well, there was one left, and yes, Dale Corrigan, investigative reporter turned millionaire. He has his own office building, the Corrigan Tower. Imagine an early version of the Baxter Building from the Fantastic Four. Like the top 15 levels are all private, and it's his. And he's got a penthouse and labs, and he is the Silver Spirit. Some people, not mentioning any names, call him the Silver Codpiece. He is the Silver Spirit, a pulp vigilante. He's got these scarab-shaped throwing shuriken that now come back. And he has the scientific advisor who used to work with the Sentinels of Justice, Dr. Elizabeth Herbert, based on an old girlfriend of mine, Becky Herbert. Weird science type thing, and yeah, all the, oh, this is my refracto ray, and, you know, got the Jacob's ladder with the lightning going, that type of stuff. So Dale realizes, okay, all of my friends who were in the Sentinels of Justice got killed in their own homes. It's almost as if whoever killed them knew everything about them. Yeah, because it was a Melor from the future that went back to 1924. So Dale got these people together. I'm playing Dale and Liz Herbert. Fine. In this game, Fur, Breakman Z, Jeff Doref, Goth Bunny, who after a 5-month hiatus is back, Jennifer King, a dear friend of ours, me, the roommate, has known her for a long time. You went to school with Carrie. And Todd Letts, who has known Jen since she was 15, and him and Wolf, the roommate, bust each other's chops online. Todd is a member of the 501st, the Star Wars cosplayers. So we have Fur playing Gerald Moore, a 1924 Harlem businessman, African American, known in the hood as Big G. Has illegal activities. Remember, it's Prohibition era, so there's a lot of underground speakeasies, and there's the Brass Rail, the club that he owns, but in 1924, black people didn't own it. So it had to have been owned by a white man known as Willoughby. Gerald was there as a singer, sort of a jazz and blues singer. Gerald also, how can you put that? Well, he was a pimp. And there's some backstory behind this, and you're going to find out I have a lot of backstory. You people who are watching me for the first time, oh no, Trav always has backstory. I am sitting over there. Fur is sitting here. It is a Sunday morning. I am looking up some guy having made homebrew classes for Pathfinder. I find a pimp class. And I'm just like, what the fuck? There's a pimp class. And Fur, I'm playing a pimp. Excuse me? What? Whoa, where'd this come from? I haven't had more than one cup of coffee. Don't tell me shit like that on a Sunday morning. So we made up Big G. And I, of course, found different ways. I didn't like the pimp class, but I found ways to give them the same thing. And, they have the thing like the pimp hand, and you're giving non-lethal damage. And, of course, we here at Twitch and all this don't consume hitting women at all. Okay, we're going to get that out of the way now. But for the purposes of the character, they had these things where you don't take damage for, the bat or the pimp hand, as they would call it. It's like my one former coworker said, Daddy has to see if the pimp hand's still strong, that type, yeah. And how to read people and know their desires. And so I use a wonderful PDF made by Owen K.C. Stevens for Rogue Genius Games called Anachronistic Adventures. By the way, look up Owen K.C. Stevens. The man is going through cancer. If you can donate to his Kickstarter or GoFundMe, look it up. JFGI, just fucking Google it. And Owen is a fantastic designer. He is one of the creators of Starfinder. He worked on Star Wars D20. This man's been in the game for like 40 years, and cancer's now trying to take him out. If you can donate, donate. I wish I could, trust me, because I would love to meet the man and just tell him, you make fantastic stuff. So Anachronistic Adventures, I found 2 classes that could make up Big G. We were trying to find a way to put Big G in a game. And then I came up with this 1924 game. And Fur's just bombarded, info dumping stuff about the Harlem Renaissance. And I'm like, okay, we found Big G's niche. And Big G and some backstory. Fur's baby daddy is African American in the hoods of Detroit. So she has experience with stuff in the streets. So, also Criminal Minds fan, so she's throwing a little bit of Shamar Moore with Baby Girl to Herbert. So you have a 6-foot tall, 300-pound black man with, imagine Herbert, glasses, a little chubbier version of Agnes Girardi from Star Trek Picard. In 1924. Now, the team all knows this, and they're all cool with it. Problem is, a black man cavorting with a white woman in 1924 is going to bring some problems. That's just how it was in 24. It's part of our, nasty part of our culture. We still have this shit today. And so Fur is just playing Big G, and of course she wanted, I want him to be able to grow, sort of a Hulk out type thing. So I found, under time, Big G can control it, but also under times of stress, he'll end up, so, pulp-style Venusians, one of them is Rax, and that's a short name. It's like Raxalaxa Yatrolopoulos. They call him Rax. Venusian science basically made spandex, so when he grows, his pimp suit rips, but he's got this black bodysuit. And, of course, super strong, super hardy, reasonably invulnerable to harm. So that's Big G. Remember, these are all 1924. Yeah, Big G gets even bigger. Right now, let's see, 6'3", 12'6". Well, with leveling, and this hasn't happened yet, even bigger. When Big G hits you, you feel it. You will find out just how strong that pimp hand is if he gets to be 12 feet tall. So, that's Big G. Z is playing Alexander Kane. He puts Big G. Z, Big G, bigger, blacker. Yeah. Z is playing a 200-year-old vampire known as Alexander Kane, another monster that hunts the monsters. He knows ritualistic magic and speaks several languages, and for pulp-style aliens, I use pulp spaceships of bronze, and it's another Louis J. Porter project where he comes up with a Venusian race and a race from Europa. In the Cronins, I call them Europans in this. And I also use Rocket Rangers, another Jonathan M. Thompson Battlefield Press thing. he's been gone now for almost 6 months, and I tend to be looking back on more and more of Jonathan Thompson's stuff. Brother, I miss you. So they have groups of aliens. So you have aliens within the system, and then aliens from the planet Vega. So you have all these pulp aliens, doing stuff behind the scenes, and a few of them one of the races looks human enough where they can infiltrate and they look like Asians. Now, the reason why Dale got all these people together is the Nazis of 1924, the Yakuza, the Thuggies, and the mob are all getting together, and it's this Mellor that actually took out the 4 bosses and is playing all these and has gotten them together. We just took out that Mellor, though, so there's going to be a power vacuum. So we have Alexander Kane, this typical vampire, running water, stake in the heart, coffin, and Herbert made a coffin cloak. So if he gets down to 0, this cloak, which has its pockets of his native soil, Britain, in there, it turns into a coffin where he can regenerate, and then the team can just carry him away. Oh no, sword, Florentine-style fencing, 200 years worth of knowledge, has to mind control. Yeah, Big G baby big, but he doesn't fuck with Kane. No, because Kane can mind control it. You will get on the starship that Rax is piloting. You will not act up or freak out while you're in space. Everything will be fine until we get back on the ground. And Big G failed the will save, and Kane mind control and put that suggestion. Oh no, Big G, he's not white-knuckling the rail in the observation lounge or ship or nothing. No, everything's fine. He's great. He's cool. Yeah. So Kane, just monster hunter. And 200 years of wealth. Is because Big G likes to be dominated. I never want to see those words on my screen again, Z. I swear to God. Again, come so close. Just come. So that's Fur and Z. Jeff DeReff plays Giovanni Antonio Knuckles DeLucci, a Chicago mobster who worked with Al Capone's predecessor and rubbed elbows with Capone, and then ratted them out and turned state's evidence and fled to New York. So Jeff is playing an Italian-American from Chicago, mobster hiding in New York. What is Dale said, okay, I need criminals to fight criminals. So we got a pimp from Harlem, a stoolie from Chicago, a vampiric monster hunter. Yeah, these guys kick ass. So, yeah, Johnny has, and of course Jeff is a huge Star Trek fan. And if you know in the Wold Newton universe, Star Trek is the future of it, because the whole thing, Spock saying he knew, he's related to Sherlock Holmes and Doyle. Well, no, in the Wold Newton universe, Sherlock Holmes is real. Doyle was the editor publishing Watson's logs. So Star Trek is the future of the Wold Newton universe. So, Jeff being the Trekkie that he is, his Tommy gun has the teleporting ammo. Thank you, Venusian Tech. And he can sit there and do like a 200-foot cone and just take people out. And it's great. He's having a blast with this. And every time we start up, hey, Knuckles, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good there, And Jeff is just playing the street thug. And, of course, he's got this thing. He's called Knuckles because when he punches you, he will knock you 5 feet back. I use the Adventure D20, the Trinity Universe pulp game. And it's the Daring template where you've got characters like the O'Connells from the Mummy movies and stuff where you've got feats to... he reminds me of a Pesci character. Yeah, I'm sure Jeff is drawn a little bit on Joe Pesci or De Niro, or well, probably more Pesci. I love Jeff dearly, but I don't see him drawing off of Robert De Niro for a mob character. And maybe Paul Vitti from the Analyze This and Analyze That movies. I'm trying to explain to Jeff the bit about where, he's there with Billy Crystal. Doc, you got a goddamn gift. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. I still have yet to see Analyze That. So, Knuckles DeLucci. Goth Bunny is playing Lillian Masterson, a.k.a. Diamond Lil, the socialite detective, and dear friend of Dale, who has a nickname for him, Corgi. And I'm just like... She just pulled that out, and I'm like, God damn it, this ain't never going to die, is it? This and that whole silver codpiece bullshit. Anyways, socialite detective, the illegitimate daughter of Holmes. In the Wool universe, Holmes has like 9 kids. One of them ends up being Nero Wolfe, and yeah, no. Holmes has a lineage that goes well into the late 20th century. So, Diamond Lil. And we're drawn on all the stuff we know of Holmes. Has the Mind Palace thing going, found something in an anachronistic event. Contemplative trance. I said, it's the Mind Palace. She's like, I'll take that. So, anywhere from 10 to 60 minutes, draw back everything in the mind, and yeah. So, Diamond Lil. Now, Colleen's been gone for 5 months, so now the plot line is, during the 5 weeks she was gone, game time, she went to France, and I wanted to get Colleen back in the game and give her agency. Look up the Glozell artifacts from 1924. That's what we're going with. Colleen having a bachelor's in history. Of course, it's from, and again, I bust her chops with it. Of course, it's from the University of Toledo, so it's akin to an associate's, everybody else. I adore you, Colleen. And I know Colleen's a fucking asshole. Anyways. Age of Ultron. Anyways. Oh, I hear it bitching from here. The window's open. Yeah. So that's Diamond Lil. Jennifer King is playing Drina Barrett, a Roma wanderer and psychic who her code name is the Dark Gypsy. Yes, we know Gypsy is a slur for the Roma. Yes, but one, it's the name Jen chose for the superhero identity, and two, it's 1924. The Roma were called Gypsies back then because they thought for some reason they were from Egypt. No, the Roma are actually from the Indus River Valley, which makes them of like Indian-esque descent. That India-Pakistan area. So, Sneak Thief has a black cat named Malicious. Exceedingly sharp knives, now augmented with Venusian monofilament blades and stuff. Sneak Thief, tech-based ring of invisibility, could disappear in the middle of a crowd right in front of you and just blink, gone. And has the psychic powers, including the some telekinetic, precognitive, psychometry, all of that. Todd is playing the Night Fox of Queens. And it's funny, Todd, I don't do tech that well. Never mind, he nails Henry Jones Sr. He does it perfectly. Does the Junior perfectly. He's got the hat, the coat, the whole 9 yards. I've seen pictures of Todd done up as Sean Connery's Henry Jones Sr. Yeah, I don't do Poe. So the Night Fox of Queens is Queen's protector, and he's just some normal mechanic named John Riley. But when he gets into what it was, and we had it where, yeah, he found out the Sentinels of Justice were killed, and basically, I hate to say, use it to grave rob them to get gadgets and stuff, because when they found out, yeah, these aliens, these Europans are coming in, they've got a base in Queens, okay, we got to deal with Night Fox. We get back, and Herbert's checking us out, and goes to Dale, I made all this. What? This is all the stuff I made for your friends that are now dead. He basically robbed their graves. Well, at least they're being put to good use. I'm not going to complain. They aren't needing any more. I miss them dearly, but Queens has a protector. And so Riley's been up in space now. He's now dealing with magic. And he's the newbie, so it's just like, I have no idea what the hell's going on here. And so this pulp campaign, we've dealt with aliens, Nazis. I threw the Mellor in because they were the basis for the one-shot I ran down at Adrian College like 10 plus years ago. And so we have this... Oh, it's not yet. Hell, I got another 12 minutes I can talk about this. So these characters, yeah, it's 1924. I use Adventure D20 to... Oh, you may have, the daring feats, which, you're a better pilot or better horseman, or you can stare somebody down, or you can bullshit better, and Anachronistic Adventurers by Rogue Genius Games again. Owen K.C. Stevens made that. And so these characters, I do Gestalt, where they take the same classes at the same time, and they get the best features of all the classes. So whatever's the higher hit dice, whatever is the higher skill points per level, the higher saves. And because they're superheroes, yeah. I use the Powered Hero Evolution stuff again from Scorch-Earth Studios to do Fur's Big G now growing under duress. He can control it on its own, but if emotions get the better of him, he gets scared or angry, yeah, he's going to grow. So I use that, but other than that, it's still a pulp-based game. They got the weird alien science. They're delving into magic now, and they realize that. And I did the research for the Glozell artifacts. The language that are on the tablets that were found on the Pradine farm back in early mid 1924, it could be any one of 10 languages, including Basque, Ancient Cretan, Turkish-based, Phoenician, and they can't decide on it's one of these 10 languages, and some of these languages have been dead for years, centuries, and so yeah, they know that there is magic going on, and this gate, this chamber, if you say this certain phrase, because Drina, Jen's character, did psychometry on stuff, and Z's character Kane is doing rituals now. Like, oh yes, oh no, okay, comprehend languages. I know what all these say. And when we resume the game in about 3.5 weeks, everybody will have learned the language, this mishmash language, and Basque, because Basque, okay, Basque it's a real language. It's spoken in the northern part of the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal. So the very northern part of Portugal and the north of Spain. And it's unrelated to any other language. There's no links to it in the Indo-European language tree. So it's weird because this language has survived in the northern Iberian Peninsula for centuries. And it's all of that northern Spain going down a little bit into Portugal. And it's just, they speak this. It's the second language of Spain, besides, obviously, original Spanish. So the characters have learned this because when we get back gaming, I have a couple weeks off for the game. We're not going to be back until July 22nd, I think. Yeah, so it's going to be where they've been there a month now. They've dug up the farm. Oh yeah, the Pradines, and we're dealing with the French government, giving them money, and we'll dig this up, and yeah, we'll give you reports every so often because it's all magic. They don't want to be telling the French government, yeah, there's portals that in these chambers that will take you places. No, they don't want to do that. And they found out it takes to a place that has 3 cities: the Secret Valley, and I'm using the Bloodwood legacy setting from Iron Heroes, from Arcana Unearthed, Monty Cook. The Great City from 01 Games, done by Mario Barbati. And the world's largest city from AEG. So you have, that's the world's largest city in the text that they're reading. The giant city, the conquered city, the Secret Valley. These portal rooms that have been dug up throughout the Pradine farm. And again, Emile Pradine was a real person. He was 17 when he was found. He died in 2010 at age 103. This man went through hell. He got sued. He was called, oh, these are all forgeries. And yeah, he went through hell for this. And there's now the Pradine Museum. And yeah, all these artifacts are there. And yeah, and they're still arguing about them this day. Are they real? Where'd they come from? Who did these? And they're finding stuff from the Neolithic era to 1500 AD in these dig sites. I'm throwing in the thing of, oh no, there's magic capability of them, and you can be teleported places. They haven't been teleported anywhere, but after dealing with this stuff for a month, and here's the one thing I wish that there was a map of the dig of the Glozell site. That would be fantastic. I've tried looking for it, I can't find it. They never made a map of it. But yeah, basically, when they come back, the characters will have dug up this poor guy, Frenchman's farm. It's about 17 kilometers south of Vichy, France. So it's like 120 miles south of Paris. So it's there in central France, this little farm village that... and again, but they're bovine, because first they're arguing with me whether it was a cow or a steer. So I just went and said bovine there. Their plow animal of a bovine nature, one of its legs falls in a hole, so they dig this out. They get the cow out, and they find this chamber in there with clay tiles on the walls, and these tablets with weird language on it. And so they dug up the entire farm. They brought in the French government. We're bypassing the French government. It's Dale and his people are digging this up. So that's where we left off with that. And because I was doing aliens and high tech, and what I'm having is that, yeah, it's a lot of Star Trek based tech, but the Venusians already have it. That is a mystery for another time. It's like, how do the Venusians have all this technology and, you know, steer used for labor, cows or for milk? We'll find it's a steer then. They're both bovines, though, so I'm just using bovine. The farmer's daughter over here. So, yeah, the Wold Newton universe, if you want... Shitstorm in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So, yeah, the Wold Newton universe, check it out, because they've interwoven, and I mean, they've gotten to the point, yep, here we go, fuck, and then the next word's going to be you. Yep. Love you, dear. So, the Wold Newton universe, as I said, it's interactive, fuck, and you. Okay, she added the and in there. Wow, that's nice of her. Anyways, as I said, the Wold Newton universe, check it out. There's heaps upon heaps of stuff. The author Win Scott Eckert pretty much now controls it. I guess he was like Philip Jose Farmer's protege. So now he and a bunch of other people have added to it, and there's lists. They'll show all the way to the future. It's like, oh yeah, you know, because Spock was distantly related to Holmes, who was real, through Amanda Grayson. The entire Star Trek continuity is now Wold Newton future. And that technically means also the Kelvin timeline is an alternate timeline of that. So, yeah, the Wold Newton, Pulp Wold Newton Heroes, the Sentinels of Justice, is that Saturday game. And I have a lot of fun with it because I get to research history. And Jen has fun with it. And Jen comes from this area, but she lives in New Orleans. So the few times that she's up here, we game at her parents' house up about 20, 25 minutes north of here. And there's Japanese whiskey and good dinners that Mr. and Mrs. King cook for us. And so, yeah, yeah, we have a lot of fun, and it's good seeing Jen. We have yet to see Todd. Todd couldn't make it the last time Jen was there. He got in a car accident. I think he's still dealing with repairs and everything. But, yeah, hopefully the next time we get to Jen's parents, Todd can make it down so we can all finally meet him. So, yeah, let's see. That was Fur, Colleen, Z, Jeff, Jen, Todd. Yeah, all the characters. And then I'm playing Dale and Herbert. And other NPCs like Gerald the Butler. I'm bringing in things, the Invisible College, which are mentioned in Rocket Rangers, again, from Battlefield Press, the late, great Jonathan Thompson's company. I think DriveThruRPG still has Jonathan's work, so if you're looking for Pulp OGL stuff, get that, because it's a really cool... That and Pulp Fantasy. It was Pulp Fantasy, then Rocket Rangers was the setting made for Pulp Fantasy. Both of them are at DriveThruRPG.com. And, yeah, as I said, Jonathan, I miss your brother. I look through your stuff, and I miss you all the time. Just, yeah. We're losing too many good role-playing designers here. We've lost Rich. We've lost Jonathan. Owen Casey Stevens is, duking it out with cancer. Again, check out his GoFundMe to help with medical bills. Okay. We are in the home stretch here, and we are going to start up with my Sunday game. Now, this Sunday game is a... Oh, yeah. Real quick. Fur's brought in a lot of people that she knew from her time in the hood. Fur lived, we're talking, if you are from the Detroit area, 7 Mile and Rutherford. These are not areas that are nice areas. I was getting sent, the first year Fur and I were together, and next weekend's 5 years. She's sending me, and then walking her kids to school. Oh, here's a burned out car. Here's a car that was stripped. Not a good area. But she met some characters. She lived in Brightmoor. Now, if you're in Detroit, you know about Brightmoor. If you know, you know. I drove Z there one time. I dropped off Fur there, and I had to drive Z down to Saline. So from Detroit all the way down to Saline. the old Fort Saline plant, which is now Phoenicia, when he was working there. And I'm going, don't cry, Z. Just don't make eye contact. Just if you cry, keep it in until we get to the freeway. I'm not going to cry. It's okay. You're a 21st century man. You can cry. Paulie and Briggs. Shit, Poop, and Turd. Yes, this was their nicknames because the grandfather was the shit, so the son was Poop, the grandson was Turd. So she's bringing in all these people from her past, and they're now friends of Big G, and a couple were friends. We wrote it in where it was friends of Night Fox and Queens. And yeah, we're having a blast with this, and sadly, Poop and Turd got taken out by Europans, but yeah, so... But Paulie and Briggs are like Big G's second cousins, so you don't make me tell Aunt Bootsy. You going to churches this weekend, Joe? No, man, I got to go out of the country, but I'll donate to the minister. And that's what Gerald does. Yeah, these ill-gotten gains, he's still giving it back to the community. So, yeah, okay, that is the Wold Newton Pulp Heroes. Now we are at Sunday. Now in this game, it's Fur. Originally this campaign, it was Jeff and Pixies. They were convert Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls, that world, to OGL. And I helped him out with it. And I had fun with it. And Jeff, it was his first time full-on GMing. Now, he GM'd in my previous Saturday campaign. In that, it was Robotech and Nightbane from Palladium Books, fused them together, put them in OGL. Jeff was playing a Harry Potter Death Eater. So he got to GM for a while, for about 4 or 5 sessions. Then Jeff decided, okay, I want to do a campaign, it's Skyrim. So we're converting everything we're going over. And it was me, Josie, Z, Jeff running it, and Amber Allen, who has been in my Sunday game now for a while. Amber made a... Drow character didn't fit in the setting, and just it didn't work out. And of course, I tried to be a player, and Jeff knows I adore him. It's just I'm a game master. I tried being a player, and just I was sitting on my hands, biting my lips, saying you should do this, do that. Amber and I left that group, so Jeff, Josie, and Z ran it until stuff with work and whatnot. Jeff had to drop the campaign. I decided to do a spin-off with the characters that Amber and I had in that game, that they got shunted to another Earth. Now, this campaign is called Amethyst with Trevor, Nephith, and Dulcet. It is a spin-off of Jeff's short-lived... And it lasted maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And then a little bit after Amber and I left. And it was... We used the Amethyst setting from Diaz's Machina, Chris Diaz's company. I call it rifts done logically, because magic and technology are not working together here. It's post-apocalyptic... Humanity's rebuilding after a massive magical event where a positive energy gate between the Earth and the Moon, and a negative energy gate in Siberia, which has now pretty much destroyed most of Asia, have altered it where creatures of Fae have come back. Dwarf and gnome halfling-like beings, and 3 or 4 types of elves, and orc and troll kind of like beings, and Chris has different names. So what it was, I had my character... Okay, this was originally a Bureau 13 and Fringeworthy team go to the Skyrim realm. Well, they were escaping a Mellor Hell across a platform, a Fringe platform. 613 feet across, 8 25-foot portals, 4 50-foot portals at the cardinal points. We jumped out of one, mine and Josie's character. I was playing a typical Fringeworthy army guy, Travis Polk. Josie was playing a half-elf from the Bureau 13 Earth, who was also Fringeworthy. We were on a team together. We were the survivors of Mellor Hell. We had to shut down the world, and our 4 fellow team members gave us a chance to escape. Well, as we jumped through a portal, Morgan Coulson, a Nord Ranger, played by Jeff, and Amber's Drow character, partly amnesiac, albino, and had weird clerical powers, the Oracle class from Pathfinder. We jump through the portal at the same time. We meet, we try talking, we go back to their world. Okay, we all now speak Nord, which I just made Norse. We later meet a Khajiit caravan guard named Dalsa. That's Z's character. So we're exploring Winterhold and Sarthal, and then Amber and I had to split. Jeff, Josie, and Z kept the campaign for, and what we were doing is because in Bureau 13 they have the all bars communications. What was it, quantum displacement technology, where you could talk across dimensions. You always have bars, distance isn't a problem, and so Josie and I would be on the Discord server that we have, typing logs to each other. Yeah, Nephith says hi. Yeah, Dawson Morgan say hi. Okay, this is what we're doing. Josie's character, Leona Aloran, the half-elf from the Appalachians on Bureau 13 Earth, which, if you know Bureau 13, there's Appalachian elves in this world. All stories are real. It's urban fantasy. President Lincoln made the 13th Bureau of the Justice Department originally fight supernatural elements that the Confederates were throwing in during the Civil War. It is now modern day, and the Bureau has help from alternate Earths, time, aliens, whatever. And it's like MIB meets Hellboy. Fringeworthy, imagine Stargate, but it's alternate dimensions, and it came out 12 years before Stargate. Richard Tucholka brought out Fringeworthy in 82. Stargate, the movie, came out in 94. So there's primacy there. And Fringeworthy is the world's first interdimensional role-playing game. And you can put any game world on the paths, and I've done it. I got the big blue binder over there, which I printed all 4 of Rich's Portal books. And we plotted out where the Skyrim world was, where all these other fandoms are, all these other settings. I can flip through and I've actually written down, I've got it all on line paper. Oh, like negative 120,5. Oh, it's, the supernatural setting or whatever. Yeah. And there is a supernatural role-playing game, so if I ever do play it, I can put it on that world. Anyways. So, Trevor, my character, Nephith, Amber's albino drow. Jeff was having a disagreement with what drow are on the Skyrim world, so they butted heads. Okay, you know what? Amber and I are going to do this. You're getting a spin-off campaign. 4 weeks in and somebody wants to spin off your campaign, take that as a feather in your cap. So, Trevor, my character, Nephith, her character, and her black Palomino with red eyes, Poltergeist, get shunted to another world. Now, Amber's one boyfriend, Michael Flaga, I want to play a 3-foot-tall catfolk necromancer from Skyrim. Fine. He found some Termellan artifact that transported us through the Fringe portal and into this Amethyst world, which is a closed cosmology except for the 2 portals. Well, I put the Fringe portal there, so now there's that. So, Trevor, Nephith, the horse, Poltergeist, and Michael, very devious player, but he plays characters very well. Yes, in his language, this necromancer's name, Ta'agra, the Khajiit language, Captain Buttercup. And because the device he used to transport all of us there, and we didn't know, we found out later, wait a minute, you're the one that sent us here? I have friends I left behind on your homeworld, you little shit, So, and the captain, we're now all on this post-apocalyptic, you're either using magic or tech world. Tech only works in like these massive megalopoli called bastions. And they're all separated from each other, they all have different tech. They're at the most maybe anti-grav. And so once you get like 5-6 miles away from the city, you have to keep tweaking your stuff or it's going to fall apart and rust. And it's called disruption. So we're there, and we later ported the Dalsa, the Khajiit caravan card played by Z. Master Tracker, Master Archer. Now, I have other NPCs. Well, one of them, this Gimfen race, which is like a gnome halfling race, yeah, they're Fey, but they don't disrupt tech. Most Fey in Amethyst, they could touch a machine and it just shorts out. Because the magic interferes with the laws of physics and chemistry and whatnot. Baxel Temper. He's basically the tech guy on this world. He's about 3 feet tall, and he's always got a bag of widgets. So, yeah, let me fix this. Okay, this is good. Go. Now, Fur, she's playing, and again, this is another adaptation of a character, the Turkish Netflix series, The Protector. And I tweaked it for the setting. She's playing Hakan Demir with the shirt, the talismanic shirt of invulnerability, which basically I had to make it an epic and mythic weapon item, a legendary item for Mythic Adventures, because just okay, bullets bounce off, fire doesn't bother. I mean, yeah, there have been some things that have knocked Hakan for a loop, but Hakan is still alive. He may be, kind of limping. Oh God, that actually hurt. I felt that, So Hakan is in The Protector. He's a street rat from Istanbul, modern day, and he finds out that there's this magic shirt woven with talismanic sigils and whatnot that members of his bloodline can wear, and he's known as the Protector in Turkish or Turkish, excuse me. The proper name of that country where Istanbul is Turkiya, so it'd be Turkish. This shirt was made by the mages and artisans of Sultan Mehmet II shortly after Constantinople was taken to Istanbul. Yes, cue the They Might Be Giants song. Yes, get it out of your system now. So Hakan finds out that not only is he this prophetic hero, when he's a Turkish street rat. He's wandering around the Great Bazaar of Istanbul with his cousin Memo, and they want to have a store, and his adoptive father, Nemet, ends up getting killed over this shirt. So Hakan goes on the run, and Hakan finds out he's got this whole cadre of agents that have been trained for generations to help him, known as the Loyal Ones. A pharmacist and doctor named Kamel Erman, and his daughter Zainab, a history professor at the local university. The Protector's job is to kill immortals, and one of them is like the richest guy in Istanbul, Faisal Erdem. So I've ported Faisal, Z, the Loyal Ones, Hakan, into this setting. And I just said, no, Istanbul, they found out, was flooded the minute when, continents were shifted due to the two gates and everything, and coastlines are changed. The Mediterranean flooded out Turkey. So there is this bastion in Portugal called Porto, which I'm assuming is Lisbon and like Madrid and all that. He and Z come from there. And it's just, instead of modern day, it's now like the mid-26th century. So I just adapted it for the setting, and so for plays Hakan. So now Hakan, Z, and Baxel are now working with Trevor, Nefith, Dalsa, and the Captain. And Trevor has brought stuff from the Bureau 13 world via the fringe paths and gate spells. Okay, there's a base set up, and I also researched something. It's called the Raven Rock Military Complex. It's in south central Pennsylvania, and it was considered to be the underground Pentagon. It was, it's a base, we got to get the president and everything here so we can preserve the government. So it's one of those. And it's real, but obviously there's a lot of stuff that can't be found. So I'm using that, and Trevor is like, wait a minute, I used to be U.S. Army on my world. This is an Army complex. We're taking this over. Well, in the Amethyst setting, there was Martian colonists that basically they were left alone because the world 500 years ago was going due to the magic. They somehow mysteriously resurrect, and now they are trying to purge Earth of anything magical. They are the true saviors of the planet, so they call themselves saints. And they have these bosses named deacons who, because they were raised on Mars' lighter gravity, they have to use like light exoskeletons to move around on Earth. But they have quantum singularity guns, and they've got flying and quadruped war bots, and they have these kill switches. Oh, you're in your armor and you're a saint, and you get killed, and the armor disintegrates you in the technology. So you can try to hack past the fail-safes, but it's hard. So right now, we are in the midst of fighting the Deacon Jones, and all of his various saints and robots to get Raven Rock Military Complex, because I basically use the map of an REF outpost from Robotech, so it's got like workshops and communications and stuff, and yeah. And it's right next door to the Gimfin capital of Nimfal. So they've got all these little techie gnome type people going, oh, if you get this force, you get all... Because the Gimfin, yeah, they can build, but they can't... They need to be given new information. They can build, but they can't elaborate on... They can't What's the word I'm looking for? They have an idea, they'll make it over and over again, but they cannot extrapolate on said technology. They have to be given new ideas constantly. And so the humans who had 500 years of technology, yeah, here you go. Yeah, make us a robotic defense force here for our city of York, which is on the East Coast. It's kind of sort of like New York, New Jersey area. And so, yeah, make us our Zeros, our robotic workforce. And of course, then they throw the Gimp under the bus. Oh, we made it all. Yeah, Gimp, you paid us. We don't care. We got to make this cool stuff for you. You gave our ancestors money. We don't care. Just you gave us all this new stuff that we can make now. Thank you. 500 years of technical advice. Here you go. So, right now in that game, I've thrown in Bureau 13. I've thrown in Fringeworthy. They've been to another world on the alt platform, and it's 1924 Budapest. So I have technically another way to, yeah, let's do a pulp adventure. You're going to be going in Budapest, but yeah. Now, Baxel and Zainab are not Fringeworthy, so they get left behind, but they're NPCs. But you still have Hakan, the captain, Dalsa, Trevor, Nephith. And technically, if Nephith is riding Poltergeist through the portal for that time, Poltergeist is also Fringeworthy. So yeah, there is a chance that there could be another pulp adventure. Problem is, there's a Meller waiting on that world who took over the form of the Budapest spice shop owner, Stashu Ubarak, that they brought back with them to the Amethyst world. Because he realizes, yeah, my store has been taken over by this monster, I can't go home. Well, sure, I'll be with you guys, I'll cook for you, you get good goulash. Yeah. So because he's half Hungarian, half Polish. That's where you get the name Stashu from, which is the Polish name for Stanley. And I dodged that bullet getting named that, thankfully. My great Aunt Kate, yes, the key lime pie great Aunt Kate, wanted to name me Stashu. My mom's like, no, we have a name. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, okay, wait a minute. Let me look. Okay, looking here, and yeah, apparently nothing else with the glitching. I seem to be moving fine again. It just I lowered my resolution down from 1080 to 720, so that should not be the problem. So yeah, this Sunday campaign, as I said, I still have to have, and again, I have to have wikis up when I'm right. Oh no, I have to, for the Saturday game, I have to have Memory Alpha up. I got to have a bunch of Wold Newton pages up. For this one, I have to have the Protector, the Elder, and this is all wikia.fandom.com. Wonderful, except for the Protector wiki, which needs a lot of work. So I have to have the Protector wiki, such as that is. I got to have the Elder Scrolls wiki up, because background information not only for Jeff's campaign, but for the two Khajiit characters, Dulce and Captain Buttercup. I have to have stuff up on Norse mythology. There's things going on there that will play in later. And so we have this game that sprung up out of necessity from Jeff's Skyrim game. Now, Jeff and Josie say, well, we go to cons, we're going to use this to get into... Okay, that's fine. And at the last correspondence that Josie and I had in character, Josie's character, Leona, the half-elf, and I think in Skyrim they call them Bretons. Breton. Josie's character is now Dragonborn, which means doing the dragon shouts and all that. And so, because I didn't want Jeff to have to deal with the ultimate magic words of power system, I just said, okay, no, just she's now going to have to be a mythic character, and just the mythic spell casting, you're using mythic version of spells to do this stuff. So yeah. And I sent a long list of all the stuff in the Discord server we have for Fringeworthy and Skyrim is what it's called. The Saturday one, it's the new Sentinel. So yeah, we either do Skype calls, we got Facebook chats for the games, we've got the Discord servers for the games. And of course, a lot of times it's like goofing around, sending pictures like, oh, this is the booze we're drinking tonight, and this is, Jen with her, 11 or so cats. Yeah. We love Jen dearly. It's like, I would need a hotel room. I'm allergic to cats. I'd be like, okay, I'm visiting, I'm hopped up on, giving you a hug, yeah, I'm hopped up on, Zyrtec, yeah. So, as I said, these 4 campaigns that I run bi-weekly, you see everything I pull from these campaigns. Oh, there's something else for this Sunday game. And Fur is just sitting there going, oh, Christ, these 2. Yes, that's right, those 2. In the Amethyst setting, when Siberia got consumed by Ixandar, the Black Gate that just corrupted the land, everybody from Asia they embraced their inner theme song and said, fuck this shit, I'm out. So they got any sea vehicle they could, from a rowboat to an ocean liner, and went across the Pacific, which was now a lot more dangerous. The Pacific Islands are all gone. There's no more Hawaii, there's no New Zealand, Tahiti, all that stuff is gone. Most of Micronesia just swallowed up by the waves. So they come over and they hit the southern shore of California, which is the bastion of Angel, which is pretty much the biggest bastion in Can-Am, which is now North America's called. So, oh yeah, we need to build. We got all these goblins attacking. Oh, here comes a labor force from across the ocean. So you have the south, probably about where San Diego would be. In Angel, there is this little Asia called Ganai. And you have Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Thai, just all, maybe some Indian. They don't mention it, but yeah, they're all, all of the Southeastern Asian nationalities are there. Chinese, obviously, are the biggest ones, so a lot of these people have taken Chinese names, even though they may not be Chinese. And it's mid to late 20th century technology there. The surrounding bastion of Angel, of which Ganai is a district, that's okay. You're getting into near future tech, but once you get into Ganai, you notice the tech drop. So you're going to have mechanical cash registers and not so much internet there. And so anyways, I decided, okay, we have this base in, was it Berkeley, California, near the Fringe Portal? Yeah. And in the Fringe Portal books, it's this little hunchback dwarf named Borzunka who runs a cemetery. Well, we put our base there. As long as we don't mess with his cemetery, he let us be there. So Borzunka, he's got Slavic accent, even though he's a Naros, which is dwarf. And they sort of have sort of an Asian-esque. There are Naros samurai. But he talks like this. His Slavic accent. He says, you don't disturb my graveyard, I don't hit you with my shovel. And he's like the shoveler. He's a badass. He'll whip the shovel around. I made it a spade staff. And yeah. So here's Ganai. And we had to go in there to get various things. Now, I needed Asian NPCs. Again, we go to the Spheres of Power wiki at... Okay, it's Spheres of Power. Let me get down. Looking for my cursor. There it is. Did I save? Yes, Spheres of Power wiki, which is at spheresofpower.wikidot.com. Now, with that, you can do the Spheres of Power, which is a new magic system, the Spheres of Might, which is a new martial system, and they've just come up with Spheres of Guile, which is for like your bards and rogues and gives you more role-playing skill boosts. And so, the Blacksmith Iron Chef class, which I use in the Friday game, and for the Spheres of Guile, there's a called the Envoy. Now, usually the Envoy will say words that will boost you. No, there's the Aristarch. His words are used as attacks. So yes, I made 2 Asian NPCs who are also loyal ones, because I expanded this to a worldwide... The loyal ones are everywhere. And so Hakan went to this Ganai Loyal One Enclave, and yes, they are there. Uncle Roger and the professional Asian dad specializing in failure management. I made them as 2 of Hakan's 6th level followers. Uncle Roger is a 6th level blacksmith iron chef. And the Asian dad is a 6th level envoy Aristarch with words that if he gets you with a blast of words, it actually does 2d10 points of damage to you. So I found these. I said, oh yes, no, I have to do this. And so they hear, hello, niece and nephew. And first got that look like, are you fucking kidding me? And I went there. Hakan would make a mistake. And the Asian dad, I work for a donut. Failure. And yeah, if you've seen Stephen He or Uncle Roger, you know these characters. And Z, Amber, and Michael, they're at first just looking at me like, I've killed you in my mind 3 times already. Just, dude. But they're the character's followers. And so, yeah, they've provided, and I went all out. The Asian dad with the slipper, where he comes up, he's like, I will send you to Jesus. These slippers are magic weapons. They're like +5 ghost touch, returning, distance. And just, yeah. And then because the dad can use nunchuck, +5 holy nunchucks. I went there and I wrote up stats for when you eat Uncle Roger's egg fry rice, because it has 3 things: egg, fry, and rice. If you don't know these, you fucked up. And so the Iron Chef archetype, you pick different foods and flavors and herbs and components, and going to allrecipes.com is really good. And yes, Fur can't believe I'm going to a recipe site. It's research, dear. It's for the game, really. Trust me. So I looked up egg fried rice. Okay, chilies, the rice, and this, and it's like +2 fortitude to help against environmental heat and cold, a +4 to reflex saves, and I think he's treated now as a 9th level Iron Chef, which means the effects last longer. And there's one other thing. Yeah, Z, why you no doctor? Protector is nice, but you got that backup plan. What the hell? Yeah. So, yeah, I wrote up the stats for Uncle Roger's egg fried rice, and it's there on the refillable sheet that Carrie gave me, and I use these now and print them out. So, yeah, I have taken characters from various things and made them into NPCs for the Friday game and the Sunday game. And just, it's going to be a shame when we do wrap up the Sunday game, because I'm going to miss playing those 2 NPCs and just, what the, walking up to Hakan, what the hell? And just, yeah, I have a lot of fun doing them, and I'm making them, and I'm just, it was a rabbit hole I went down. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, okay, I'm looking at the site here. And just, yeah. So these 4 campaigns that I'm running, Thursday nights, my homebrew comic book world, so cyberpunk superheroes. Friday, Hardwired Hinterlands. Most of the culture is like 1930s-esque, but you have spots of high-tech, low-tech magic, sci, weird, uplifted animals. Saturday, pulp, everything, all the pulp tropes, although I try not to get too... In other words, first playing a black character, I'm not dropping the N-bomb during the game. Because usually it'd be, oh, look, it's like the thing while, oh, looks like we got to up it, and beats the shit, Will Smith slaps him around. Oh, no, and Z's getting a better grasp of, what you protecting anyway? The secret on how to be a bum? Here's secret, look in mirror. Oh, well, Z, that's fucked up. It's funny, but it's fucked up. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So yeah, and then Saturday the Pulp Heroes Wold Newton Universe, and then Sunday the spin-off campaign from Jeff's short-lived Skyrim Fringe Where the OGL campaign, Amethyst with Trevor, Neffeth, and Dulce, which still it's a spin-off campaign, and it's like, okay, I still want to use these characters. We just start them. Oh, we'll do this. And I just came up with a plot device that transported all these characters there. Now, Jeff and Josie's characters are still back on that Skyrim world, but we just have it, the interdimensional communication cut out. We can't contact them, so we don't know what their fate is. So, yes, those are my 4 campaigns I'm currently running. They are all OGL based. And remember, you can reverse engineer all the way back to 2nd edition D&D. There's 2nd to 3rd edition stuff, 3 to 3.5, 3.5 to Pathfinder. You either try to find the old stuff that Wizards had or the 3.5 conversion document from Paizo.com. So, we are about done here. I want to thank all of you for watching and tuning in. I did lower the video resolution, so there was probably more lag, but it's because I'm doing a wireless connection. I'm not doing a wired connection to get an Ethernet. But yeah, those are the things I'm running right now. If you have any questions, I don't know if Twitch has a comment section or you. Let's see. Best way to contact me would probably be Robert Trav Pulaski on both Facebook and Instagram. On Twitter, I am Trav13369. So, any of those, of course. Tomorrow night, Breakman Z and hopefully Jeff DeReff will be back here 8 p.m. tomorrow night for the Travcast, Part 3 of Blind Wolf's Rubber Room Association on DementiaRadio.org. For those, I did it last week via here, and it's a comedy music show where I host. Breakman Z reads the weird words, and Jeff DeReff does the pop culture report, and then I do a list from listverse.com. And I've been doing it for 17 years now. I am also on Gaming on the Frontier on podbean.com. That's tritacsystems.podbean.com. I've been doing that 14 years, and that was originally TriTac Games Fan Podcast, and now we've gone more system agnostic. That is starring myself, Bruce Sheffer, and Jonathan Thomas. Bruce Sheffer having been a longtime friend of the late great Richard Olka. So I am out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and tuning in. As I said, I'll be back here tomorrow night to do my show. So I still got to come up with an outro phrase. I just want to say good night, everyone, and again, happy Juneteenth. Just, you get your mail back starting tomorrow.